All right,
All right.
Dawn Espe, welcome.
Thank you.
So we have Dawn with us here from the Sowing Room in Minnesota, and I would like you to first tell me a little bit about your rural area. What do you love about it, and what makes it special?
I've lived in Minnesota my entire life,
Hmm.
mostly in rural places. I've lived from the southern part of the state to the center part of the state, never way up north, but I did go to college way up north. Um, I just love the nature. I love the outdoors part of where I live. Um, I love knowing who my grocery store person is when
Yeah.
I go and check out. I do love that familiarity as much as I miss metro locations because I did live in a metro location
Hmm.
for about 10 years and the food and the arts and all that sort of stuff. The Brainerd Lake area really does do a good job of incorporating a lot of arts and some pretty good restaurants have been popping up
Cool.
lately and things. And so you get that nature and you start to kind of go through folks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great. So tell me a little bit about the sewing room. So obviously, even though we like love our rural regions and they're so special to us,
Mhm.
they also aren't perfect. And so is the sewing room meeting a specific need in your community that was lacking before?
Yeah,
Tell us about what you do.
sure, yeah. So the Sowing Room really focuses on creating places and spaces of inclusion, particularly for populations that aren't seen as the norm in a
Mm-hmm.
rural place. Because many times rural places are generations of families that are living
Mm-hmm.
there, right? You take over the family farm, or you stay and take over the family business, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might be. But with our demographics changing so drastic, or so significantly, in the United States, and particularly
Mm-hmm.
increasing now, right? How are we as rural communities set up and prepared to be a welcoming place for some of those who need first, obviously?
That's cool.
Yeah, and also too, it isn't just race. It's not just religion. It's across the board, and also I think with the younger generations maybe don't see themselves quite as easily in rural places
Mm-hmm.
as well. So how do we create those spaces so that all folks can see themselves in the community in however they choose to participate?
I love that. And I think in many places, what I've noticed and what I've heard from other rural folks from all over the place is sometimes there is an actual like dearth of places for folks to gather who may not identify with like the dominant culture in
Mm-hmm.
that place.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's like the narrative or the story that is lacking, or
Yeah,
maybe it's a little bit of both, right?
yeah.
Like that rural places have always been incredibly diverse, but somehow the story has changed. And
Mm-hmm.
so, do you find in your particular area that it's a little of both, or and how do you plan as you gather and create these spaces to kind of tell that story?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah. I don't believe that we have a lot of places and spaces in the Greenwood area that are gathering spaces for those that might not be part of the dominant culture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a it's been a big issue for folks. I'm particularly thinking about the queer community right now because that's a
Mm-hmm.
space that I'm engaged a lot in. And really, there's one church in town,
Mm-hmm.
that is very welcoming to the queer community. But other than that, you don't really feel that welcoming space.
Mm-hmm.
You are, if you're not of the dominant culture in the Greater Lakes area, I feel like you're always trying to um, be okay with
Mm-hmm.
being where you need to be
Mm-hmm.
versus having places that are really created for those populations. So
And
yeah,
that's what you're doing is creating that.
we
And
try. Yeah. So
yeah,
I don't have a physical location. The sewing
yeah,
room is just a name, and I work out of my home. So right now I'm trying to, offer story circles, offer social opportunities for folks, offer moments of being able to collaborate together on what it looks like to be a welcoming community, what it looks like to provide those spaces for
that's great. So then you're also simultaneously spreading stories about these folks and about
yeah,
your own experience.
yeah, yeah,
That's so cool.
and I know a lot of times too we talk about particularly nonprofits here, and you want to get out there, you want to share these stories and things. What's unique about what the Sowing Room is trying to do is that because it is those close, intimate kind of connections that are happening, that really, that really weaving fabric of connection that a lot of times I don't feel like I can share those stories because they do become very personal. They do become very, one person's experience, and they're not always comfortable maybe sharing that. So there's this balance that I'm trying to do as well as how do we uplift those stories of those folks in the community to show that we're all here, we're all doing this without, taking away their privacy,
Exactly.
or putting their safety at risk in some cases as well.
It reminds me a little bit of resonance because I was just kind of doing some playing around with like our plenary descriptions for this year right before we started this conversation. Our theme is resonance this year, and we're working with the Resonance Network. And resonance is like an actual like scientific phenomenon where like if, for example, if an opera singer, is singing and the glass kind of absorbs that vibration, it can activate its own natural vibration and frequency as well, and then actually amplify too. It's not just reverberation where if I yell into a canyon and it bounces back, but it's an actual amplification, and that's why glass can shatter. And so even if like the personal details or personal stories don't leave those circles, there's sort of this amplification of frequency, right? That starts to spread. And there's something to that. It's like hard to describe, but it really matters. And I think a place can feel it, like energetically. So how did you find Radically Rural? Because you came to the summit last year, right?
I did come to the summit last year.
How did you find it? And like, what made you decide to come? Because it's not like it was just like in your way.
No, I had to come out of my way to come here for sure. Well, I don't really remember exactly how I came across Radically Rural, but I know that you have all been doing this since about 2018, and I feel like I followed you at the beginning of this all as well.
Wow.
I think it was just because I was working for Region 5 Development Commission at the time, and just the different circles and networks that I was in, really digging into that community development side, and it just appeared. And I believe you did some things over COVID, more virtual, and I know I participated in all that. And so yeah, it just really resonated with me, all of your topics. And also, I'm planning a summit in Brainerd, and I had planned a summit back in 2022 as well, a Cultivating Community Summit. And just the alignment of our topics and all that kind of stuff, like this, these are my people.
Oh, I love that.
Check this out.
Yeah, good.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we oftentimes like describe, well, when I first started supporting Radically Rural in 2021, so the 3 summits had already occurred, including the virtual one that happened in 2020. So technically, you have more experience with Radically Rural than I do. But yes, but when I first started, it was people almost always ask me who is Radically Rural for, and it was just so hard for me to find that common denominator. But it really is like the kinds of people who are who love their rural places for one, and who are the type to like jump in and help. They're like, oh, I could start this thing, or I could contribute to this thing, I could do this thing. And that energy of having hundreds of those kinds of people in one place is really something. And so I'm curious, like, what was your experience like when you came in person last year?
Home.
Oh,
I mean, really, honestly, every
I'm
session.
dying.
I love things like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I might be a little.
Same.
I'm a sucker for a good feel-good conference. but just really just that home, just those shared values in that space, and then just being able to hear ideas, but also kind of connecting on some of our challenges, right?
Yeah.
Even though I'm all the way over here in New Hampshire and I'm all the way over in Minnesota, just we still had some of those commonalities. So it's rural, right? And we're all experiencing those same things, even though it might look a little bit different in individual places.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
For sure.
So why are you here? Tell us, Dawn.
Well, I was fortunate enough. So there's an organization in Minnesota called Springboard for the Arts,
Hmm.
and they're a nonprofit organization that really does a great job of supporting artists. I myself am not an artist,
Hmm.
but they opened up a group called Creative Coalition Cohort, what it's called. And so it wasn't just artists, it was also creative thinkers and community builders and things like that want to be doing things with a creative lens. And so I joined that group, and they offer a Sparks grant. And so they give you a bit of money to go connect with an organization or an individual that may be doing things similar that you want to be learning from. And when I originally got the funding, I was going to go and visit this amazing group, North Span, up in Duluth. But I've been working with North Span, so I was like, well, I mean, I can learn from them. I know I can, but what other opportunities?
Hmm.
Radically rural. So I'm planning another summit for this fall, and when I did the summit back in 2022, it was in a conference center. It was in one spot. And I came last year and saw your movement, and I had kind of been thinking about a movement one, but it was such a scary feat.
Yes.
But then I
Yeah.
came to yours, and I was like, okay, I can kind of see this a little bit more. And now that I had this opportunity, I wanted to connect just so I could ask those questions and really find out, what are some of those things that I might not be thinking about with the difference in moving centers.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I just get to come here again because it's so cool and
Yes.
busy.
Well, we're so
Yeah,
glad you did. I mean, like, I I I don't want to overgeneralize, but I do feel like oftentimes there's a certain personality type, like I have it, where I'm like, well, I don't want to bother anyone, or I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Like, you can give me a scrap off your shoe and I'll be happy with it.
exactly.
But it's like
Yeah.
the gift that you give others when you what am I trying to say? Like you asking for time this week to come visit us brought us so much joy to do that,
Sure, yeah.
like when you initially sent your inquiry, we are like, this is so cool. Like we're just like,
People are seeing
yes,
us.
and
Yeah,
it's not like it's not a bother. It's just we're so thrilled.
yeah.
And so I'm curious, like this week as you've been here and you've kind of joined some of our different meetings because we have our local planning team, which will be meeting after this. And then we have our track leader team, and they plan the content for the tracks. And then we have our national advisory group, which will also be today. And then also just like the staff meeting to talk about it. You've gotten a little bit of the behind the curtain sort of thing. So like, did anything surprise you when peeking behind the curtain? And like, what have you learned?
Nothing is surprising, I wouldn't say. I think what has really happened is some of my fears about moving people around have
Hmm.
been a little bit,
Good.
a little bit
Yeah.
tapered down. Just hearing how you move people around, hearing the volunteers that you have in place, your structure is amazing. I can't believe how you have. I'm jealous of all the people that you have involved in this. It's pretty
Yes.
impressive. But I've been learning a little bit more about just all those little nuances, and that's exactly what I wanted. I have my speakers. I can do all that. I can put them in a room with a microphone. But
Yeah.
it was just those little nuances, those little things that
I love
the
that.
questions are definitely
I'm
getting
so glad
answered.
it's been
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
And
definitely.
we have so many people who come together to make this happen. But I'm curious if like the number of staff members who actually work on this is surprising to you at all. I know you're like sort of a one woman show right now. So even having like
Yeah,
three staff
yeah,
members work
yeah.
on this, you're like, wow, that's three times what I have. But a lot of folks, when they find out how small our staff is, they are surprised. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, the Hannah Graham Center does a ton of stuff. Radically Real does a ton of stuff. And that's the thing too, when I think about your team, you're also doing other things. This is all I'm really concentrating on right now with all the summit because I
yeah,
am a one woman
yeah,
show.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Well, I am so excited about your summit. I think it's going to be great. And then yesterday in the track leader meeting, we sort of went over all the different like melting pot sessions that we have that are going to be cross-pollinating between tracks.
Right.
And I'm curious, did any of those jump out to you that you're particularly excited about for this year? Because I'd love to know why you think other people should come.
Yeah. Well, if I had the list in front of me right now, but I don't, but I know that when we were going over, I was like, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
So I'm really, anytime you can be creatively thinking about how to bring community together, that's my sweet
Yeah.
spot. Yeah, I care about the environment and all of those things as well, but I can only
Yeah.
do so many
Yeah.
things. So all the sections that have to do with just that rural community building, particularly the one with Ash Hansen and
Mhm.
Tatum.
Yep. Tatum Fotheringill. Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
I'm the Sowing Room is going to be hosting one of the virtual uh, rural
Oh,
assembly
the
everywhere.
watch parties for Rural
Yeah,
Assembly everywhere. That's so
yes, yes.
cool.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited to see her name on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone should check out Rural Assembly
Yeah,
everywhere too.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. Cool. Um, and why do you think, like, if folks are thinking about coming, October of this year to Keene, like, why do you think they should consider coming?
Home.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just the vibe, the feeling, the whole, those 3 days are just, it's such a great moment to connect. It's a great moment to celebrate. I love how you integrate the arts. I love how you integrate the entire,
Mm,
community into it. It's a unique conference summit experience.
yeah.
It's not like you're going to a typical, which is what I really like
Yeah.
about it.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And how can we support you in your work and others who might be listening?
Oh gosh, go onto my website, like my Facebook page. I have a newsletter I put in every other
Yeah.
month that has some things to read, things to watch, virtual opportunities. So yeah, just
Cool.
follow me.
Well, maybe we can chat again sometime after your conference so we can hear how it went.
Sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, hopefully I can be here in October for the Radical Mill
Yes,
celebration.
that would
Yeah,
be
we can
great.
talk then too, man.
That sounds great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for chatting
Oh,
with me
sure.
today.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
visiting
me.
us.
Oh, yes. It's been amazing. Amazing.